What up, y'all? Appreciate you showing up, hanging out, listening to my dumb ass. Like and subscribe. The drama continues relating to the Nintendo Switchness, the Switch 2, NS2, the NS2. Everybody's bugging out about the prices for the. I mean, I would say most people's bugging out for it. Like, well, not like Boom. I heard Boom. He's like, not gonna do it. He's like, I'm gonna buy it anyway because I'm a Nintendo head. But what just happened, I guess today, I don't know. The tariffs happened without naming no names. The TTs happened. The T tariffs happened and or are happening, and what, Taiwan is 46%, and I guess each region is a different percentage, whatever. I didn't look at the numbers, but I know that Nintendo had shifted a lot of their manufacturing out of China to Taiwan to avoid the previous tariffs, the previous T tariffs, if you will. And so now they're getting got this time around. And so with the tariffs happening, Nintendo has postponed their pre-sales, so no longer going up on the 9th, which was Wednesday, I think, coming up. It's like, yeah, we're not doing that no more, and it's still gonna come out on the 5th, June 5th, but you know, how do we know? We gotta see what's gonna happen with these tariffs, son. That's what they said, basically, paraphrasing, of course. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, they are, look, last video, many other people, many other influencers, content creators have said the same thing. Nintendo's an evil corporation. They're super duper greedy. If you didn't know, now you know. Here's the proof. And there's like, yo, wait. They're sitting in the meeting, right? Like, all right, what happened? And everybody's phone goes off. Beep, bleep, 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 bleep. Oh, what's going on? I don't know what's going on. Yo, you see this? It's like tariffs. Brr, brr, brr. They're like, oh, we could charge them more money. Yo, we should wait and see. And then if the tariffs go through, then we're like, oh, well, we have to charge you more money because the tariffs make it more expensive when you be. Bottom line, if the tariffs go through in Taiwan and all these other, like I said, I haven't looked it up. I don't know exactly what's going on. If there's going to be some negotiations, blah, blah, blah. You know how this goes, because basically T, with his T tariffs, he's using it as a negotiation tactic to get better deals on other stuff. Who knows? You know, whatever. Like I said, each country and region is different because we get different stuff from different places. Whatever. Capitalism. And so once again, this does tie into Jeff Grubb's concern/rant about capitalism. Yeah, basically. And so now people are thinking, oh, if it's a 46% tax, round it up to 50 because easy math. And Nintendo Switch is supposed, the NS2, supposed to be $450. 50% of $450 is $225 plus $450. What does that make? $675. That's it. I mean, is that how it works? I don't know. Is that percentage off of the, before tax price? Is it? I don't know. So is it off of the actual production cost and not like the retail price? I don't know. But regardless, it's going to be higher than $425 if it goes through, and $499 respectively if it goes through. So this might be the worst economic situation Nintendo's found themselves in, outside of failing console Wii U says hi. I think GameCube didn't do too well either. But this, I mean, they haven't even launched yet. They haven't even done the pre-orders yet, so they don't know what the hype is like. Plus, their prices were ridiculous. So the sentiment is like, I mean, if this goes through, Nintendo's dead in the water. The NS2 is dead in the water before it even launches. It's dead. It's a dead console. Even though the console itself, nothing really wrong with it, but it's about prices. Same thing with the Pitch Tech 5 Potato. Prices. The reason why nobody's talking about the Pistol 5 Potato and Sony's not boasting about how many sales they got from the Pistol 5 Potato, how it's selling out and it's selling off, it's flying off the shelves. We can't keep up with demand. They're not saying all those things. Why? Nobody's buying it. Why? Because it costs too much. Now, idiots like Reforge would be like, oh, you brokies, cry more. He can say, oh, you guys just cry more. Just cry more. That's his head. It's cry more. That's all I have to say. Cry more. And I'm like, Look, once again, it's not about individual. Well, it is about that, but it's not about the customers liking, disliking, all these things, right? Always for me, it is always about the health of the industry. What Nintendo's doing right now is not healthy. What's going on economically around the world with world leaders, especially US world leaders doing things, not healthy. And we're talking about, overall, housing, stock market crash. Maybe I should go buy some stocks right now while it's low, buy low, sell high, you know what I'm saying? It's not a good look at all. The forecast, the outlook is not looking too sunny, right? But there is a bright spot. And that's Xbox. Microsoft is Game Pass. It is up to Game Pass not to mess this up because everyone is messing up. Sony, they in bad shape. They're down bad. They're so down bad that their fans are so happy to get Xbox games. And they're like, it's a win for them because they ain't got no games to play. So any games would be a win, you know what I'm saying? So they're like, yeah, we got your games. And then they're trying to, push this narrative. Oh, Xbox console's dead. Somebody in the chats yesterday said that. Oh, since the Xbox ain't in the console business no more, their consoles are done or blah, blah. I'm like, all right. Look, I have a prediction. This is what's going to happen. This ROG Ally Xbox collaboration thing will come out. Xbox will look at it, be like, all right, that's what's up. Okay. Then they're going to come up with their box and their handheld. It's going to be like, boosh. And somehow, some way, it's going to be super successful, hopefully. And it's going to fly off the shelves. And it's going to be the best-selling console ever created. And then, what will the ponies say? Oh, they're not in the console business, but they're the most sellingest console. How can you explain that? You can't. They're putting out a product to sell. How can you explain if it is successful? The only way that they can say, oh, we told you they're not in the console. Of course they're in the, if they put out a product, they're in the console business. Anyway, don't need to go through that over and over again. But this whole tariff stuff with the Nintendo Switch 2 and it was already bad. Like, them prices ridiculous. $80, $90, what, they crazy, blah, blah, blah. Nintendo lost their mind. And now it's like, oh, it could be worse. Games definitely over $100. And some people say, oh, they were preparing for the tariffs that way. That's why their games are so high and stuff like that. I'm like, I will be like, we'll see. If the tariffs go through and their games go up, then yeah, no. Like if the tariffs go, if they didn't raise their prices, they kept them saying the tariffs went, they knew the tariffs might have gone through. So maybe the possibility is that yes, they inflated the prices in order to compensate for the tariffs, for any potential tariffs. Sure, right? You can believe that. That's a possible scenario. But if the prices go up again and they say, oh, the tariffs, then it's like, nah, they just want that money. Then it'd be $90 and $100. I'm just saying $10. I don't think, if it's 50% and the games, let's base it off of $70 instead of $80. What is it, 35? 35? 50%, a little bit less than 35. That's over $100 for a standard game. So look, Nintendo is messing up. I was listening to Dirt and Sean today, and Dirt went through a little not a rant. Well, I guess it was kind of rant. He does a lot of rants now. But he was basically going through the history of console makers, companies, video game companies messing up, right? Like Atari messed up back in the day. Nintendo came in and swooped in and saved them, right? Then Sega came through, right? Well, Sega Master System wasn't really, because of Nintendo versus Sega. And then Genesis came through. NES came out to the SNES came out a little bit later, but by that time Genesis already basically won that gen basically. And then Nintendo's tried to stick with cartridges. Everybody else is going to CD. Nintendo messed up. And then PlayStation came out versus the Saturn. Saturn was too hard to work for. They like last minute they just slapped two 32-bit RISC processors together. Sega messed up. Then they came with the Dreamcast, but it was too late at that point. And then PlayStation 3 comes around. They messed up. I mean, they messed up on twofold. One, 360 came out a year earlier. Two, giant enemy crabs, Ridge Racer, go get another job. They messed up. Then PlayStation 4 comes out, Xbox One comes out, Don Matrick. They messed up. Xbox messed up. So every kind of generation, there's a mess up, if you will, which causes or helps the other console maker to win, to benefit, and to eventually win, right? It's kind of the history of video games. And so right now, Sony's messing up internally and, just visually, if you want to do, kind of public sentiment. They're like, ain't got no games. PlayStation, they ain't got no games. Everybody's saying PlayStation ain't got no games. And the PlayStation players are proving that they got no games because they're buying up Xbox games. And so PlayStation's messing up right now. Nintendo is messing up right now. They haven't even launched their system and they're messing up. It's almost, I tried to equate it to the 3DS. When they launched the 3DS with the high price, it was too high. But this one is a little different. I mean, price wise, yes, it's too high, but there are other factors involved. And right now, how they positioned the Switch 2 is that it's closer in line with the current gen consoles than it is just being something on its own. That's why I keep saying Microsoft is now the new Nintendo, in that they are doing their own thing outside of the traditional console space. Console, this is what the console is, this is what it does. You buy that, you buy the exclusives. Meanwhile, Xbox is over here doing all the other stuff, selling everywhere, making all kinds of consoles and stuff. Opposite of what those two are doing. And like I said, Nintendo's more close to what Sony's doing. Even the feature set on the Nintendo 2 Switch, right? The new Nintendo 2 Switch is closer to Xbox and PlayStation, more so Xbox, because they're like, oh, they got medals, sounds like achievements. They got voice chat, it's called game chat, sounds like voice chat and parties and all that stuff, right? They got only get the camera, nobody wants a camera, but they did it, so yeah, it's fine because Nintendo. That's just going Nintendo. Yeah, I haven't heard that from a while, but Dirt, you gotta keep doing that. Part of what I gotta listen to them some more, do some more Nintendo. Yeah, so I'm looking at the Switch too. I'm like, it's kind of like a current gen console with last gen power. That's the hilarious part about it, is that they're a gen behind as far as hardware power goes, which makes it easy for them to be more profitable because they can have competitive prices with lower spec hardware, which isn't necessarily cheaper per se, because if the spec is too low and it's like harder, I don't want to say it was harder to manufacture, but it's just like not cost effective. It's not the cheapest way to get those those level power chips. I don't know. There's some calculus to be had when you're thinking about those things. But new tech would always tend to cost more. So I guess being a generation behind or so is probably more cost effective. But your games suffer because, But anyway, yeah, the whole tariff thing is really putting a damper on Nintendo's what seemed to be a pretty cool console. Not the best, super strongest console ever. I think the ROG Ally X is still stronger, right? Or more powerful, let's just say. But it's hard to gauge Nintendo 2 Switch games because of the art style. You looked at that. Was it Bloods? Was it Hunt Blood? Dawn Blood? Dusk Bloods. There's Dusk Bloods. Yeah, I was like, textures look a little muddy. I don't know if that looked. It didn't look all that. So I was like, okay, yeah, PS4 game, sure, whatever. But we have to look at, history is a good indicator of things to come, and so that's why the courts and stuff, they use cases, precedences, to say, hey, this happened, Kramer versus Kramer. I mean, that's a movie, but I'm just saying, Brown versus Board of Education, all the things, like there are things that happened in the past that have created a precedent for ways to move forward, or to kind of dictate or predict what might happen. And so this has happened to Nintendo before. It's happened to Sony before. It has not happened to Microsoft yet, I don't believe, as far as money and price go. I mean, they tried to do that thing a couple years back with the Xbox Live, like what they try to do. They try to raise all the prices, or they try to do something, and people are like, yeah, no. And then they said, okay, we're not going to do that. So it works when you speak up against your video game overlords. But if you just don't do anything, you just bend over and say, give it to me, daddy, they won't give it to you. And this is what you get. And like I said, end of the day, I hope that Microsoft does not follow suit. I understand their business. I understand tariffs will affect their business. So, that is uncontrollable. But stay on the path. Do not raise Game Pass prices too much too fast, I would say. If you're going to raise prices, $2. $2 every 2 years or something, like $2 every 3 years. Just give it to us gently, please. You know what I'm saying? So that way it's not like egregious. At most $5, like $24.99. Sure. But let us start that at the next generation or something like that. Don't do it like right now when you're trying to establish some stuff. You know what I mean? Trying to establish dominance as the number one giantess publisher in the world. Anyway, I appreciate you hanging out. Like and subscribe. Hit me up in the comments below. Let me know what you think about what you think the new Nintendo Switch 2 prices is going to be after all this crazy shenanigans, these taxes and tariffs come down. Boy, oof. You thought Sony was down bad with their Concord, the worst game in history. You thought I forgot. Concord, the worst failure in history. You thought they were down bad with that. They trying to prop up Marathon now. I think they got a new trailer for Marathon. I looked at it. I was like, I didn't look at the trailer. I looked at the thumbnail. I was like, that look a little like Fortnite. I'm just. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see what that game turns out to be. It's supposed to be an extraction shooter. I was like, I don't care about anything. I don't think anyone cares about extraction shooters. I think the Division was the last one that people cared, and that's the last one I played. I played the Division, like the Dark Zone, that was what it's called. That little patch in New York. I was like, yeah, and it was tough because it was PvPvE, which is what Destiny is, and that Dusk Bloods. So I'm like, look, y'all, I don't care. I have no interest in it. It looks like the art looks cool. But anyway, I'm sorry, I'm rambling. But I appreciate. I'll talk to y'all next one too. To wait.